Good morning children, welcome to the new session. In our previous session, we have discussed the conditions for constructive and destructive interference in terms of phase difference. Then we have derived an equation for path difference x. Today, we will be discussing the conditions for constructive and destructive interference in terms of path difference. Then we will be defining a new term, fringe width, and we will be deriving an equation for fringe width. Children, if you have not watched and studied the previous videos, you will not be able to understand anything. So, if you have not done that, first go through all those videos, have an idea, and then watch this video. Okay? Now, I have started with path difference because without that I cannot proceed. Okay, the same equation which we have derived in the previous class. So path difference x is equal to yd by d, where y is the distance of that point from the central maximum and small d is the distance between the two coherent sources. Capital D is the distance of the screen from the plane of the coherent sources. Okay, now we are going to see what is the relation between path and phase difference. Okay, children, we have done this in detail in class 11th when we did simple harmonic motion. If you remember, we have discussed the motion of a particle along the circumference of a circle. Then we have drawn a perpendicular to one of the diameters. And finally, we have concluded by the time the particle completes one revolution along the circumference of a circle, the foot of the perpendicular completes one oscillation. That is, one oscillation means one wave. One wave means the length of the wave is lambda. Okay? The wavelength lambda corresponds to one complete rotation, that is 360 degree. The same thing you can see here. Consider the single wave, one crest, one trough. Wavelength lambda is marked and the phases are also, angles are also marked 0. Then when the amplitude is maximum, pi by 2, 90 degree. It's a sine curve, sine 90. Then sine 180, 0 again. Then 270, opposite direction maximum amplitude. Then 360, again 0. So you can see that the path difference lambda corresponds to a phase difference of 2 pi. Remember only that. Lambda and 2 pi are related, where 2 pi is the phase difference and lambda is the path difference. Okay. Then again the same thing, the path difference lambda corresponds to a phase difference of 2 pi. So what will be the relation between the path difference x and phi? Okay, lambda corresponds to a phase difference of 2 pi. Okay, then how is x and phi related? What is phi? Our phase difference. What is x? Our path difference. How are they related? Okay, for lambda path difference, phase difference is 2 pi. Okay, so for path difference x, what will be the phase difference phi? So phi is equal to 2 pi by lambda into x. Okay, this mathematics you have studied in class 7th when you studied the unitary method. For lambda, the phase difference is 2 pi. So for unit phase difference, for unit path difference, the phase difference is 2 pi by lambda. Then for phi, 2 pi by lambda into x. Okay. Or you remember this equation, phase difference by 2 pi is equal to path difference by lambda. So from this, do the cross multiplication, path difference is equal to phase difference into lambda by 2 pi. Okay, so finally we get path difference is equal to phase difference into wavelength into phase difference divided by 2 pi. So x is equal to lambda by 2 pi into phi. This phi is in the numerator. Children, once again we have studied the conditions for constructive and destructive interference in terms of phase difference. Now what we have to do is we have to study the conditions for constructive and destructive interference in terms of path difference. For that, first we have to find out what is the relation between path difference and phase difference. Okay, then from the previous slide we found out that a path difference of lambda corresponds to 2 pi. This we have to remember. Okay, then what do we want? We know our path difference is x and our phase difference is phi. How do we connect x and phi? Okay, so for lambda the phase difference is 2 pi. So for x, what will be the phase difference? Phi. Okay, what is the equation? Phi is equal to 2 pi by lambda into x. In other words, phase difference by 2 pi is equal to path difference by lambda. So path difference is equal to phase difference into lambda divided by 2 pi. So finally we get the path difference x is equal to lambda by 2 pi into phi. Okay, this we have to remember, then only we can do the rest of the things. Now, the same thing what we have studied in the previous class, I have written condition for constructive interference in terms of phase difference. The resultant intensity is equal to I square plus b square plus 2ab cos phi. You know, for constructive interference, the intensity should be maximum. For this to be maximum, cos phi should be equal to plus 1. So phi should be equal to 2n pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, why I have written this? Because we have to connect phi and x. Okay, now we are going to study what are the conditions for constructive interference in terms of path difference. Again, I have written the conditions for constructive interference in terms of phase difference. Phi is equal to 2n pi. Now what is the equation for path difference? Wavelength by 2 pi into phase difference. That is x is equal to lambda by 2 pi into phi. Okay, now we are going to apply or substitute for phi. What is phi for constructive interference? 2n pi. So substitute for phi as 2n pi. So what is the corresponding path difference? X is equal to lambda by 2 pi we have written. In place of phi we have to write 2n pi. So what is it? 2 pi get cancelled off. So x is equal to n lambda. Okay, this is a condition for constructive interference in terms of path difference. Here again n is equal to, from where we have started, we have already written here, it is 0, 1, 2, 3. So n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, like that it goes. I don't know whether you have understood. Once again I will explain. Children, we have found out the condition for constructive interference in terms of phase difference. What was it? The phase phi should be equal to, phase difference phi should be equal to 2n pi. Okay, then we found out the relation between path difference and phase difference. X is equal to lambda by 2 pi into phi. This is a relation between x and phi. Now for constructive interference to take place, what should be phi value? 2n pi. So we are substituting 2n pi in terms in the place of phi. So the path difference x is equal to lambda by 2 pi into 2n pi. Why did we substitute 2n pi? Because that is a condition for constructive interference in terms of phase difference phi. Okay, then we are getting x is equal to n lambda, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, children. So what is it? The path difference x should be equal to n lambda for constructive interference. Okay, so in statement we can write n lambda, it starts from 0. So the path difference should be an integral multiple of wavelength lambda. Okay, so we have studied one more concept today. The condition for constructive interference in terms of path difference is that the path difference x should be equal to n lambda. Children, remember, for constructive interference, the condition in terms of phase difference phi is equal to 2n phi. Path difference x is equal to n lambda. If you understand and study, it's a very simple and interesting thing. If you don't understand properly, if you have not watched the previous videos, you may find it such a big complicated thing. Actually, it's a very simple, interesting thing. But you should have the continuity. Okay, now we will study the condition for destructive interference. So once again, the same slide which we have seen in the last class. The condition for destructive interference in terms of phase difference. Again, this is the equation for intensity. Destructive interference means the intensity should be minimum, which means cos phi should be minus 1. So phi should be equal to 2n plus 1 pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have seen this last class. Now we are going to derive the condition for destructive interference in terms of path difference. So once again I have written this. So cos phi should be minus 1, phi should be 2n plus 1 pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. Then the relation between path difference and phase difference. Path difference is equal to wavelength by 2 pi into phase difference. Okay, lambda by 2 pi into phi. So here what will we substitute? We will substitute in the place of phi. We should substitute this, what? 2n plus 1 pi. So what do we get? X is equal to, again 2 pi, pi get cancel off. X is equal to 2n plus 1 into lambda by 2. Okay, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2. So children, the path difference for destructive interference is 2n plus 1 lambda by 2. Okay, where n is equal to 0. So you substitute 0 here. What do you get? 2 into 0, 0. Then 1 into lambda by 2, which is equal to lambda by 2. Then you substitute 1. 2 into 1, 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 lambda by 2. Okay, so lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2. Then you substitute 2. 2 into 2, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. 5 lambda by 2. So you will be getting x as lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2, 5 lambda by 2, 7 lambda by 2. It goes on like that. So what is it? X should be an odd integral multiple of half of wavelength. Okay, so children, we have studied two concepts. The condition for constructive interference in terms of path difference. Okay, that should be equal to an integral multiple of wavelength lambda, or x is equal to n lambda. When n is 0, x is equal to 0. When n is 1 lambda, when n is 2, 2 lambda, then 3 lambda, 4 lambda, 5 lambda, it goes like that. Okay, then here for destructive interference, x should be equal to 2n plus 1 lambda by 2, which means x should be in the order lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2, 5 lambda by 2, 7 lambda by 2, 9 lambda by 2. It goes on like that. So it should be an odd integral multiple of half of wavelength, because it is lambda by 2. Okay. Now children, if you remember, for destructive interference, I have told you phi can be written in two different ways. It can be written as 2n minus 1 pi also, but here n starts with 1. Okay, so we will be applying this also to get an alternate equation, because we will be using it at some places. So here again, path difference is equal to wavelength by 2 pi into phase difference. Again, corresponding path difference is equal to lambda by 2 pi. In the place of phi, we will be substituting 2n minus 1 pi. So we will be getting the equation 2n minus 1 into lambda by 2. where n is equal to 1, 2, 3. Now we will substitute and see 2 into 1, 2. 2 minus 1, 1. Again 1 lambda by 2. When n is equal to 2, 2 into 2, 4. 4 minus 1, 3. 3 lambda by 2. When n is equal to 3, 3 into 2, 6. 6 minus 1, 5. 5 lambda by 2. Again the condition is the same. Lambda by 2, 3 lambda by 2, 5 lambda by 2, 7 lambda by 2. It goes on like that. Okay, so the condition for destructive interference is that path difference of the two waves is an odd integral multiple of half of wavelength. The condition remains the same, only thing there is difference between the two equations. One is plus 1, the other one is minus 1. Where it is minus 1, we are starting with n is equal to 1. Okay. Now children, a very simple concept, only the theoretical thing. The question is, in interference, does the law of conservation of energy disobeyed, or does it obey law of conservation of energy in interference? Okay, children, in interference on the screen we get alternate dark and bright fringes. Wherever the dark fringe, the energy is minimum. Wherever the bright fringe, the energy is maximum. Does that mean energy is lost or energy is created during interference? No. Whatever energy is vanished during dark, destructive interference is added up in constructive interference, which means altogether there is no energy created or not destroyed. It is only a non-uniform distribution of energy. Okay, this is a 1 mark question you get. Okay, so the law of conservation of energy is obeyed. In case of constructive interference, intensity becomes maximum and bright fringes are formed. Whereas in the case of destructive interference, intensity is minimum and dark fringes are formed. This shows that the intensity of light is simply being redistributed. Energy lost during destructive interference is gained during constructive interference. Energy is only transferred from dark to bright fringe and no energy is created or destroyed in the process. Hope it's clear. A very simple theory. Ultimately, you should know that interference also obeys law of conservation of energy. No energy is created, no energy is destroyed. It's only an adjustment between constructive and destructive interference. The amount of energy lost in destructive interference is given to the constructive interference, bright fringes. So, in total, no loss or no profit. The whole energy is distributed non-uniformly. Okay. Now we have to study a new term called sustained interference. Children, you must be very familiar with the word sustainable development. Sustainable development. Okay, it's the same word meaning. Sustained interference means once the interference pattern is formed on the screen, it should remain on the screen as such. Okay, throughout the propagation of light, it should be remaining as such on the screen. Okay, that kind of interference is called sustained interference. So it is known as permanent interference also. Okay, so sustained interference means positions of maxima and minima of light intensity remain fixed throughout the screen. The intensity of the light remains the same throughout. Therefore, the sustained interference is known as permanent. You can just guess with your common sense. If the pattern formed on the screen has to remain like that permanently, what should be the condition? All the conditions which are applicable for normal interference should be obeyed. Plus, if it has to remain like that, means the same coherent source should be continuously emitting light waves. Okay, so I have listed out all the conditions. So many conditions are there which already you know, nothing is new. Coherent sources of light are needed. The two sources should be coherent sources. Amplitude and intensities must be nearly equal to produce it. If it is perfectly equal, well and good. Okay, otherwise the maxima should be faded otherwise. Okay, if the amplitudes are different means maximum light will be there, but that maximum will be only a slight brightness only will be there. Okay, so moreover, if the bright fringes are very bright only, we can make out the difference between the bright and dark fringes. Hope it is clear. Suppose the bright fringes are somewhat bright and dark fringes are not fully dark. Okay, the contrast will be very less, so we will not be able to make out on the screen which is bright and which is dark. So if one is perfectly bright, the other one is perfectly dark, black, we will be able to find out. The contrast will be maximum. Okay, then you don't have to break your head for all this. You should know that coherent sources are needed. The amplitude and intensities of both the waves should be nearly equal. Then the sources must be small enough. It should be point sources, not very long slits. Then the fourth condition, the sources must be near, which means the small letter d, the distance between the sources, should be very small. Then the source and screen must be far enough. Capital D must be large. Then the sources must be monochromatic. Okay, then sources must emit light continuously. All these we have studied before. Only the last, it should emit light continuously, only that is new for you. Rest all you have already studied. Okay, so this is an important question for CBSE. What is sustained interference? What are the conditions for sustained interference? Okay, then next we are going to study again something new, fringe width. From the name itself you can make out fringe width means width of the fringe. Okay, so in this figure, already have seen this figure before. Then this is a central maximum or the central bright fringe. Then first dark fringe, second dark fringe, third dark fringe, fourth dark fringe. First bright fringe, second bright fringe, third bright fringe. Children, as I have told you before, once again I am telling the central bright fringe is not known as the first bright fringe. Okay, the central bright fringe is known as central bright fringe or central maxima. Then this is the first bright fringe which is above the first dark fringe. Then second bright fringe, third bright fringe, it goes on like that. Alright, now children, we are trying to find out the fringe width, means width of the fringe. What is the width of this dark fringe? Okay, let's take this. What is the width of the second dark fringe? Where is this second dark fringe situated? It is situated between the second bright fringe and the first bright fringe. Okay, so if we can calculate the distance between these two bright fringes, it's like a sandwich. Dark fringe is sandwiched between the first and second bright fringes. Okay, so the distance between the second bright fringe and the first bright fringe gives you the width of the dark fringe. Hope it is clear. You just imagine a sandwich. This dark fringe is in between these two bright fringes. So if you find the difference between or the distance between these two bright fringes, you will get the width of the dark fringe. Similarly, here the third bright fringe, that is sandwiched in between third dark fringe and fourth dark fringe. So if you take the distance between the two consecutive dark fringes, you will get the width of the third bright fringe. What is the distance between fourth and third bright fringe? That will give you what is the distance between the fourth and the third dark fringe? That will give you the width of the third bright fringe. Hope it is clear. That is the distance between any two consecutive bright fringes will give you the width of the dark fringe, and the distance between any two consecutive dark fringes will give you the width of the bright fringe. Okay, always remember, a dark fringe will be sandwiched between two bright fringes, or a bright fringe will be sandwiched between two dark fringes. So if you take the distance between two bright fringes, you will be getting the width of a dark fringe. If you take the distance between two dark fringes, two consecutive, that word is very important, two consecutive dark fringes, you will get the width of the bright fringe. Our next task is to find out the width of dark and bright fringes. Okay, just for your understanding, I have shown few more figures. See, this is the side view on the screen, how the fringes are formed. Here you can see the central bright fringe, then first dark, okay, first bright, second dark, second bright. Below also the same way. Again the same figure, the central bright fringe, then dark, then bright, dark, bright. Below also dark, bright, dark, bright. Okay, now we are going to find out the width of dark fringe. To find the width of dark fringe, what should we know? We should find out the distance between the two consecutive bright fringes. Okay, now the width of a dark fringe is the distance between the two consecutive bright fringes. So for the bright band, what is the path difference condition? N lambda. Okay, now what is the general expression for path difference x yd by d, which we have derived last class? Okay, so we are equating these two. Yd by d is equal to n lambda, because now we are going to find out the width of dark fringes. So what do we want? We want the positions of bright fringes on the screen. Okay, so we are equating the equations for the general equation for path difference and the specific equation for path difference for constructive interference. Okay, so we are equating these two and we are getting an equation for y. Do you remember what is this y? This y is the distance of that particular point. This is our central maxima, and we have marked a point P on the screen where the distance was y. So the point P on the screen, some point on the screen, the position of the particular point on the screen, y is equal to n lambda d by d. Okay, when we derived the equation, the point P, whether it is a bright point or a dark point, we were not aware. Now since we have compared it with n lambda, this is a condition for bright fringe or constructive interference. So now we know the position y, or the distance of the point P. That point P is a bright fringe. So the position of the bright fringe on the screen y is equal to n lambda d by d, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. Children, once again I will explain. If you remember the derivation for path difference x, we have considered a point P on the screen at a distance y from the central maximum. That time we were not aware that whether that point P is a dark spot or a bright spot. Okay, so we just got a general equation for path difference. X is equal to yd by d, where y is the position of the point P. Okay, that's it. Now we know that for constructive interference, to get a bright fringe, the path difference should be equal to n lambda. Now we are equating these two, which means we are getting the position of a bright fringe as y is equal to n lambda d by d. So what is this y? The position of a bright fringe on the screen, n lambda d by d. If we substitute n is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, which is that fringe? It is the central bright fringe. When we substitute n is equal to 1, we get the position on the first bright fringe. When we substitute 2, we get the position of the second bright fringe. When we substitute 3, we get the position of the third bright fringe. Okay, Now children, I have written it again. So the position of the bright fringe on the screen is given by n lambda d by d. For n is equal to 0, y0 is equal to 0, central bright fringe. For n is equal to 1, y1, the position of the first bright fringe. N is given as 1, d lambda by d, position of the first bright fringe. For n is equal to 2, y2, position of the second bright fringe, 2 lambda d by 2. Like that it goes. The position of the nth bright fringe. In general, yn is equal to n lambda d by d. Okay. Now children, what are we trying to find out? We are trying to find out the width of dark fringe. Okay. So once again, this I have written in the previous slide also. The width of a dark fringe is the distance between two consecutive bright fringes. So when we take equations in general, we don't say that the width of the third dark fringe is equal to the distance between the third and fourth bright fringe. Okay, what we will do is we always go for general equation. So the width of a dark fringe is the distance between two consecutive bright fringes. So we are taking the nth bright fringe and n plus 1th bright fringe. Like we say third and fourth bright fringe, we are taking nth bright fringe and n plus 1th bright fringe. The position of the nth bright fringe, yn is equal to n lambda d by d. Position of n plus 1th bright fringe. Hope it's clear children. It is similar to saying that position of third bright fringe and fourth bright fringe, or position of fifth bright fringe and sixth bright fringe. So general is n and n plus 1th. So yn is equal to n lambda d by d. Yn plus 1 is equal to, in the place of n we are substituting n plus 1 lambda d by d. So what is our definition? The width of a dark fringe is the distance between two consecutive bright fringes. Okay, so bandwidth is represented by the letter symbol beta. Beta is equal to yn plus, children this is plus, okay, if it is not clear when you write you make it proper. Yn plus 1 minus yn, n plus 1 lambda d by d minus n lambda d by d. You know lambda by d is common, taken out, n plus 1 minus n. So you get lambda d by d. So the fringe width of dark fringe, so or the width of the dark fringe beta is equal to lambda d by d. This is again another derivation which you get for examination. Okay, lambda d by d. Hope it's clear. I will go back. What are we trying to find out? We are trying to find out the width of a dark fringe. Then what is the width of a dark fringe? The width of a dark fringe is the distance between two consecutive bright fringes. For example, the width of the second dark fringe is equal to the distance between the second bright fringe and the first bright fringe. Okay, so we have to take two consecutive bright fringes. So for a bright fringe, the path difference should be n lambda. The general equation for path difference is x is equal to yd by d. We are equating these two. So yd by d is equal to n lambda, or y is equal to n lambda d by d. What is y? It is a position of the bright fringe. We need this equation for solving problems. So remember very well, the position of a bright fringe on the screen from the central maxima is n lambda d by d. Okay. Now here I can, when you write the derivation for examination, you can skip up the slide because this I have written just for your understanding. When n is equal to 0, y0, the central bright fringe. When n is equal to 1, the first bright fringe. When n is equal to 2, the second bright fringe. When n is equal to 3, the third bright fringe. It goes on like that. So when n is equal to 1, the general equation we are writing yn is equal to n lambda d by d. Okay, then to find out the width of the dark fringe, we need two consecutive bright fringes. So we may get using the third and the fourth, or fifth and the sixth, we will get like that, but we don't want like that. We want a general equation. So we are going for nth bright fringe and n plus 1th bright fringe, two consecutive bright fringes, and their position yn, n lambda d by d, yn plus 1, n plus 1 lambda d by d. Then we find the difference between them. You get the width of the dark fringe as lambda d by d. Remember, capital D is in the numerator and small letter d is in the denominator. Okay. Okay. Now, similarly, we have to find out the width of dark fringes. So, how do we find the width of, first we have to find out the position of dark fringes. Okay. Now, for a dark fringe, what is the condition? This is a general expression for, what is it? Path difference x yd by d is equal to 2n plus 1 lambda by 2, where n is equal to 0. So, we are getting the position of a dark fringe on the screen. What is it? Y is equal to 2n plus 1 lambda d by 2d. Position of a dark fringe on the screen when we start n is equal to 0. Children, this is a place where you have to take little care, because in bright fringes there was no confusion, like you just come back to this. When n is equal to 0, it was the central bright fringe. When n is equal to 1, it is the first bright fringe. No confusion, because there was a central bright fringe and then the first bright fringe. So when n is equal to 1, we were getting the first bright fringe. But look at this equation. Okay, here the equation is 2n plus 1 lambda d by 2d when n is equal to 0. When n is equal to 0, there is no dark central fringe. Okay, so when n is equal to 0, we are getting the first position of the first dark fringe by 0 dash. Then for n is equal to 1, it is the position of the second dark fringe. It goes on like that. Okay, so here, to avoid this confusion, because you have to remember very well this equation, when n is equal to 0, it is the first dark fringe. When n is equal to 1, it is the second dark fringe. When we are using this equation, 2n plus 1, where n starts with 0. So we have studied an alternate equation. Here, 2n minus 1 lambda by 2. So yn is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda d by 2d, where n starts with 1. Okay, here for n is equal to 1, we get y1 is equal to 1 into 2, 2 minus 1 lambda d by d, position of the first dark fringe. When n is equal to 1, we are getting position of the first dark fringe. When n is equal to 2, we are getting the position of the second dark fringe. So we will be following this equation in solving numericals and for this derivation. Children, I will make it clear once again. We have two equations for the position of dark fringes. One is y is equal to 2n plus 1 lambda d by 2d, where n starts with 0. The second equation is 2n minus 1 lambda by 2d, where n starts with 1. The problem with this is, only if you are very clear about the concept, you will be able to do it. Okay, because when n is equal to 0, that goes for the first dark fringe. When n is equal to 1, that goes for the second dark fringe, not for the first. So naturally we all have a tendency to make a mistake. When n is equal to 1, it should be a first dark fringe. No. If you are following this equation, when n is equal to 1, this is the position of the second dark fringe. So to avoid all the conditions, all the confusions, just go for the second equation. Yd by d is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3. So here, when n is equal to 1, 1 into 2, 2, 2 minus 1, 1, lambda d by 2d, that's the position of the first dark fringe. Hope it's clear. Now, how do we get the width of a bright fringe? We get the width of a bright fringe by calculating the distance between two consecutive dark fringes. Okay, again, position of the nth dark fringe, 2n minus 1 d lambda by 2d. Position of the n plus 1th dark fringe. Since it is dark, we have instead of yn, okay, we have given an apostrophe also, y dash n plus 1. So now children, here again you need little clarification. I have written here, but still, position of the nth dark fringe is 2n minus 1 into d lambda by 2d. Okay, position of the n plus 1th dark fringe, which means in the place of n you have to substitute n plus 1. So I have written the calculation here, square bracket, because there are two brackets coming, 2 into, in the place of n what should you substitute? N plus 1 minus 1. So you open up the bracket, 2n plus 2 minus 1. It will end up 2n plus 1. That is how we are getting 2n plus 1 here. Okay, don't get any confused that we have used both the equations. Some children have a feeling that here we have used one equation, here we have used another equation. No, it's the same equation. After calculation we are getting it as 2n plus 1. Okay, so position of the nth dark fringe is 2n minus 1 lambda d by 2d. Position of the n plus 1th dark fringe is 2n plus 1 lambda d by 2d. So fringe width of bright fringe is separation between n plus 1th and the nth order dark fringe from the centered fringe. So y dash n plus 1 minus yn dash. After doing this calculation, you will be getting the fringe width beta as lambda d by d, which is the same as the width of a dark fringe. So what is our conclusion? Both dark and bright fringes have the same width. Okay, lambda d by d, which means it is proportional to capital D, directly proportional to wavelength, and inversely proportional to the distance between the two sources. Okay, children, hope it's clear. So the width of the dark fringe is lambda d by d, width of the bright fringe is again lambda d by d. So you get very simple logical questions for 1 mark. Okay, what are the 3 factors on which fringe width depends? What are the 3 factors? Distance of the screen from the plane of the coherent sources, wavelength of the incident light, and the distance between the 2 coherent sources. Okay, immediately the next question you get, what happens if the screen is pushed forward? What happens to the fringe width? Which means as d increases, beta increases. Then if the 2 coherent sources are brought closer, what happens to the fringe width? That is, d becomes small. When d becomes small, beta will increase. Okay, then if we have very specifically told monochromatic source of light, if blue color light is replaced by red color, what happens to beta? So what should you see? You should compare their wavelength. Wavelength is more for red. Okay, like that you can get any number of application level questions from this. Okay, then so I think it's clear for you. Now we have one more work. We have to find out the width of the central bright fringe. Okay, I will go back to that figure. Children, this is the central bright fringe. This is the width of the central bright fringe. Where is the central bright fringe lying down? It is lying down between these 2 dark fringes. Okay, one dark fringe is above that and one dark fringe is below that. Okay, so how do we find the width of the central bright fringe? It is a distance between the 2 dark fringes formed on the 2 sides of the central maxima. Okay, so here beta is equal to not the difference y1 plus y1 plus y1, that is the distance of the dark fringe from the central maxima on both the sides, y1 plus y2, that is equal to 2 into what is y1? The condition for dark fringe 2n minus 1 into d lambda by 2d, the position of the dark fringe. Okay, then this is the first dark fringe, so we can substitute n is equal to 1, and finally here also you get lambda d by d. Okay, children, so the width of the bright fringe is equal to width of the dark fringe is equal to width of the central maxima. Okay, so children, many of you must have already had a doubt why here we have added, for other 2 places we have subtracted it. You just go back to the figure and use your common sense. In the previous figure, for dark and bright fringes, they were all on one side of the central maximum. Here, one is on the top of central maximum and the other one is at the bottom of the central maximum. So it's not the difference, we have to sum up these two. Then only we will get the width of the central bright maximum. Okay. So children, we have to conclude now. So what did we study? We have studied the conditions for constructive and destructive interference in terms of path difference. X is equal to n lambda for constructive interference and x is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda by 2 for destructive interference. Okay, then we have seen what is fringe width of a fringe. Then we have derived the equation for fringe width for dark fringe, bright fringe and central bright fringe. We found out that all the three are the same. Fortunately, all the three are the same. So, what are the three factors and how is it affecting? Okay, children, please go through the video very carefully. Write the notes, study it properly and come for the live class. From the beginning, you go through the interference and come for the live class. Okay, thank you.